Hi, my name is Miss Emolyn and I'm a teaching artist in the PACE Arts program, where we integrate the arts into classroom curriculum. We are coming to you today thanks to the Acadiana Center for the Arts and the Lafayette Parish school system in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today, all you will need for your art project is a piece of drawing paper, a pencil, a pen, and then any way you can create color, crayons, markers, or colored pens. We will be doing something that I used to love to do as a kid. It's very relaxing, creative, and fun. The possibilities are endless. The first thing that you'll want to do is gather all kinds of art supplies. We can use markers, crayons, pens, and pencils. If you have colored pens, that'll work too. But I think it's really fun to involve all kinds of different art supplies because it gives you a different feel and a different effect depending on what you use. If you don't have some of these things, that's okay. Just gather anything that you might have that could create color or a line. We're going to start by drawing one line, and this is going to be a continuous line. A continuous line means we are not going to stop the pencil. We're going to keep drawing it all around the page, and we are going to create new and fun shapes just by continuing our pencil along the page. So yours is going to look a lot different than mine, but you just put your pencil down and start to draw. And if you notice that you are drawing something that you recognize as a real shape, you want to change direction and do something nice and weird, something that is different than any shape you've ever seen. So we're not drawing circles, we're not drawing squares, we're not drawing triangles. We are just making a shape out of one continuous line, and we're not even thinking about what it is. Now you might be asking, when do I stop? You stop when you want, okay? Now, ask yourself, do you see anything in this picture? Of course, we have some recognizable shapes, like here's a triangle and here's a circle. Even though it's not perfect, it is a circle of some kind. Now with our continuous shape, it's also called a squiggle. So hopefully you've made a squiggle that goes all over the page. Now with this squiggle, we can turn it into a big picture, or we can choose small parts and little moments, meaning we could focus on one side, one shape, and we could turn them into a bunch of different shapes, or we can say, I see one thing out of my squiggle. I want to create one picture out of this. It is up to you. If you like to color, you can just start coloring in the shapes. For instance, I see the triangle, you pick your favorite color, and you just color it in. This is a fun thing to do if you don't have a coloring book. You can make your squiggle and color it in, and at the end, it'll be filled with all kinds of fun colors, and the whole page you could fill up. You could even color the background if you wanted to. Now, I am noticing I kind of see something in this picture. Do you? I see a face. Now I didn't predict that when I started, and all of them are different. Here's a different one that I did, and I started to color it already. And I did some detail, which is small lines. Then I colored with crayon, and then I colored with marker. And I don't really see anything in this, so I would use this just to color, like a coloring book. But here, don't you see a face? Let's give it a shot. Let's do a couple of these. The first one, we're gonna try our best to turn it into one overall picture. Now the fun thing about this is that it's like we're drawing together, but our pictures are gonna be a lot different. So I challenge you to do a couple things. I challenge you to make one of these squiggle drawings where you just put in color and you just focus on shapes. Now because I used a pencil, my pencil is rubbing into my color a little bit. If that happens to you, that's okay. You can also do the lines with a pen. That's how I did this one, and it makes the lines bold because they're the point of the pen is bigger than the point of the pencil. If you want to, you can also draw into a shape and you can create it, turn it into something new. For instance, say this is the ear. Kind of looks like an earring, doesn't it? If I wanted to, with a pen, you can draw right on top of that crayon. It actually works a little bit better if you have markers because crayons are made with wax. You can't always draw on top of that. So that would be one reason to use markers instead. But here we have this little triangle, and let's say we want to create an eye and an eye. Now you want to try really hard not to redraw your squiggle. You're trying to be creative in what you already did. So instead of coming along and drawing a new eye, I'm going to just put the eye right here and right here. So it's going to look silly, but that's what makes it a fun piece of art because it's using what we have in front of us. So what if I make an eye that is looking at you? I could even turn these into glasses if I wanted to. This you could close and it could be an eyelid, like it's winking at you. In that case, part of the eye will be covered by the eyelid, and already this squiggle is coming to life and it's looking really silly. That looks a little bit mad, doesn't it? Because I put this on top. It's like it's frowning a little bit. But already there's a lot of character just out of a squiggle. Could you do something like that? That would be silly, wouldn't it? And here we have the other eye, like one eye is open and one eye is shut. Okay, let's give this one a little eyelid. It's just about being silly. Okay? Now, not focusing too much on that, let's get back to some of the shapes that we see. Should we try to color the nose? I see a nose right here in the middle, and if I take my pencil and I connect this line, I can color that in. And voila, we have a nose. Were you able to find a face in your squiggle? The things that are easiest, I think, to look for are faces and also flowers and leaves. So the next one we do, we're going to find flowers and leaves. So for now, let's keep working on this face. I will think, you know, there should be a little mouth in there, don't you think? So here, what if we make this mouth like a big smile? And I'm just gonna trace this shape right here. And make some lips. It looks silly, I know, but also kind of fun. So let's just color this in and keep on going, okay? Now you could do anything you want. But hopefully it is silly. That's our word for the day, silly and squiggles, right? We made this line first just by making squiggles. All right. But you know, you could put in more lines with the pen. See how the pen doesn't want to work over the crayon, so I'm going to use a pencil. Another good reason to have a bunch of different art supplies, right? So that you can get what you want out of it. And I'm just gonna mess around a little and see if I can create something that I'm happier with. But you know what? I'm not super happy with this one, so let's do another. That's one fun thing about doing our squiggle drawings. Now, this one has a lot of lines on it, and you can see that there are a lot of different options when you have a lot of lines. I'm reaching for another piece of white paper. And here we go. Let's do a second one. Okay? Now, if I want to look for leaves and flowers in this, our line will have some curved shapes, but one more time, I want to remind you, don't pick up the pencil. Okay? Actually, I want to use a pen this time. I know I just said don't pick it up and I picked it up, but let's just start from the edge of that line, the end of the line, and let's keep drawing. Now, if I wanted to make something look like a leaf, I would just pull it back down like that and then keep going. If I want to make something kind of look like a flower, lots of flowers have curved shapes, right? So I would curve around anywhere I want it to look like a flower. And of course, adding color makes things look more like a flower too, right? Say I want to make a leaf, I can go straight up and bring it back down. Practice your leaf shapes. Down and back up. And I am not picking up the pen. Nice. Now you can swoop below and you can go up high and you can continue to curve. Curve is this way, straight is that way, diagonal is that way. One continuous line until you feel like there is enough on the page. Great. Now, I see leaves. Do you? Which of these shapes looks like a leaf? There's one jumping straight out to me, and that's this one. So I'm gonna skip this line, and I'm gonna color in this outer shape. Now it is it is up to you as the artist what part of these shapes you color. And I'm gonna pick this and I want it to be the whole shape. So I'm pretending this line's not here and I'm just gonna color right over it and get the first leaf. Do you see any more leaves? How about in your squiggle? Do you have leaves? Let's look and see. All right, let's switch green colors. Light green, and here's a dark green. And do a leaf shape. I see one up here. I see one right here. How many do you have? Just continue to color. We're coloring inside the lines. I'm coloring kind of quick so I can jump to the next leaf. You don't have to color quick. Do you see anything else that looks like a leaf? This could be a leaf. How about this one? Some leaves are pointy and some are curvy. This curvy leaf though made me think of a flower, so let's skip over to some flowers. The first one that I see with a curved shape is right here in the middle. And I love to look at flowers. They all have different shapes. And this one, the way it's circular like that, kind of reminds me of a rose. Have you looked at a rose before? Also, roses have long vines, so it kind of makes the rose connect with all of these lines too. What if we pretend that's a vine or the stem of the roses? Roses do have vines and they like to, there's more than one rose in a bush. So let's see if we could create some roses out of this. Now, what if this rose had petals and it was open and we're kind of looking at it from the top? Could we turn this into a rose? What if we take a side and we make this jump out a little? And I'm not being really strict with my line, which means there's some space here and space here, but when you draw, it kind of gives it more of a real feel because not all lines are super straight anyway. Now to make some petals, I'm gonna go to the top and curve it around like this, like a rose, and I'm gonna curve it like this. Could you do this too? You could do this with a circle. Curve it like that. And I'm going in to the center like that. That looks pretty neat, doesn't it? Let's make a rose out of this circle. The petals are kind of already there, aren't they? I'm gonna stick with red, but you could do pink or yellow. There are all kinds of colors of roses. And I'm gonna color in this big circle. There is kind of a leaf shape in there, but I'm gonna skip it and make this turn into a rose. Okay. Now this is a nice petal right there. Keep that one. Keep this one. And let's curve and curve Nice. Did you get a rose out of that? Let's make this one a rose, and we're gonna keep the leaf on top, which means we're not gonna color that red. We're gonna keep it green. This is going to be red right back there. So I'm gonna color this part, like the rose is peeking through, and this part. Now the fun thing about this project is that it is endless. Each squiggle inspires a new picture. So if you really like it, that's great. You keep on going. If you really don't, you just put it aside and you start with a new squiggle. I'm starting to like this of the roses, and guess what? This was not even planned. Just came out of the squiggle. Before I started, I did not even know that I was gonna have roses at the end. Okay? Now you could go back to the leaves, and I'm gonna do a green marker because it looks different than the crayons, the colors. So now you can experiment with all of your art supplies. And there's the green of the marker. Let's do this one too. It's nice and dark. Dark green. And roses usually have darker leaves, now that I think about it, as opposed to this light leaf. But we could pretend that it's from a different plant, couldn't we? Let's see, I don't see any more circles, but I do want some more roses. They're so fun to do. So I'm gonna create a rose out of this one, and I'm gonna turn this one into a circle because we have the curve shape here. And if I continue to curve it like that, and I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm just gonna make a curve around the top. And actually, since I'm doing these lines first, I'm gonna have to make sure that this won't rub into the picture. I'm just gonna skip that, and I'm gonna use a crayon. All right, the possibilities really are endless. So this is lighter than the marker. You can do whatever you want. You can keep it all one style, meaning only crayons or only markers, but going nice and slow. You want to make this even, and you want to color it in. And I think that this looks pretty cool with the crayon next to the marker. There we go. Can we create one more rose? How about right down here? And we curve it like this. I'm gonna curve it like that. This is sort of like a petal right there. Curve it like that and come around like that. Great. Crayon or marker? Let's do a crayon. Coloring this red beneath the green leaf. There we go. Now if you want to add some detail gives us more information about the picture. We could put the vein of a leaf. You know how there's a line that usually goes right through the middle? I guess we'd have to look and see. We'd want to double check and make sure rose leaves have veins. Now that I drew that, I don't know if they do. But I also just like the detail. So let's continue. Can we see how the crayon doesn't want to let the pen work. So let's go over here where there's a marker and make sections of the leaf like that. Nice. Okay. What if we took a black marker and we made details over the leaves? Let's see, does that, yes it does. See how it draws right over the crayon. And when I outline it, it really does make it jump to life, doesn't it? Outlining means go around the shapes. Also, we could call that tracing. Good, there we go. We could leave that one without veins or the shape we just outlined the leaf itself. It's putting the leaves up, it's pulling them up and on top. But I think I do like the veins. You always just want to look at your art and ask yourself, do I like it? If you do, leave it the way it is. If you don't, try something new. Nice. All right, we have lots of leaf shapes. We have lots of flower shapes. I'm liking the detail that I see. Should we do this one too? What if we put a different flower right here? What is a flower that swoops and curves? What if we just use this like a stem and we come up, and then when we get here, make little circles on both sides and turn this into getting smaller, 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 a little flower. You could do another one over here. You could do one up here with these little circles. They look like a different kind of flower. And this one, for some reason, is screaming purple to me, so I'm gonna color this purple. You can color it any color you want. And like I said early in the video, possibilities are endless. You could do more and more and more and add all kinds of cool shapes to your piece of art, making something look recognizable out of something that we didn't even plan to begin with. I would like to make a leaf out of that, and I think a light green leaf would look really great. There we go. And just to balance it out, let's do another one of these types of flowers. It's like it's a flower garden, and the roses have mixed with these purple flowers. So I encourage you to do a lot of these, and you could even send them to some friends and see what you can create. So I'm just going to color this purple. We're going to add green to the leaf, and then what should we do last? What is the last touch of every piece of art that you make? What do you need to do to it when you're done? You need to sign it. That's it. Color this light green and we will sign our work. Okay? Use a pen and sign your work. I'm going to sign my name, Miss Emolyn. Have you learned cursive yet? I hope you enjoyed today's art lesson and that it will spark new ideas for art projects in the future. We will be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. on the Acadiana Center for the Arts YouTube channel for kindergarten, first, and second grades, each tied to academic curriculum. You can also get these lessons on AOC as a part of the Learn United program, accessible on AOC on Cox Channel 16 or LUS Channel 4. Kindergarten lessons air at 8 and first and second grades at 9 a.m. Some lessons will be in visual arts and some in creative movement, so be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you're interested in supporting programs like this, please visit Acadiana Center for the Arts.org, the nonprofit who manages the PACE program, and help us spread the word, share our videos, and keep making art.